So, welcome back. I have some serious troubles, it seems, with my computer at the moment. So, uh, just bear with me. I don't like to have these things, but well, sometimes stuff happens. So, for the spawner itself, to finish up the actual exercise over here about that, we're gonna create just an empty game object, name it spawner, and put this wherever we want to spawn our objects at. For example, we can give it an icon if we want to, and we're gonna probably put this on actually X and Y onto 0, as well as put this like anywhere in the background over there. I hope nothing crashes once again. I save often right now. And since I lost my actual cubes over here and I had to recreate some of these contents, I gonna need to create some new ones. So I create an empty game object and put this onto the spawner first. Then I zero this one out completely onto the spawner, and then I drag it out away. So I know that the pivot point is going to be where it has to be, so we can put our obstacle directly where we want it. Obstacle. We name it. And of course I'm gonna create another 3D object cube once again onto that, and now I can once again go into and design it to my needs. So again, I'm gonna make it just huge, or as huge as I think I want this. I'm gonna make it broad to the side and so on, and create just maybe 2 or 3 different ones over here, so we have the possibility to spawn these things over time. And I probably create just 2 or 3 prefabs pretty quick. And whenever you're done with the setting over here, and once again you also go and have another one like in the center. So I duplicate this. Make sure that you keep enough space in between those obstacles. And this one once again is going to be my score field. You can name this just score. And whenever somebody is going to enter this, you're gonna just make use of the normal trigger functions over here. You make sure that this one is a trigger, and then you just put a something onto it that the people are going to get score, and deactivate the mesh renderer or create a special game, I don't know, color. I do save now once again. I go to my assets folder and create probably in a prefabs folder. Anyhow, my scripts folder is gone, but doesn't matter. And I drag this obstacle number 0 or number 1 right now just into it, something like this, obstacle 1, and drag it in, so I have a prefab out of here. So I can always go in and create multiple prefabs basically from that. So like an odd original one or a variation and stuff like that. You probably have seen this already before. So I'm gonna put another one together, like where I put this over here and put my score field in between over there. So then I can rename this one to be obstacle number 2 and drag this into my scene. Now you can see you can create a original prefab or a variant. Basically it doesn't matter. For me it doesn't make any change. I'm not quite sure if that is a design thing, whatever. I'm gonna create another one where I take the first cube over here and make this maybe also a bit slimmer, something like that, and then I duplicate this first cube, Control D, and bring this onto the other side, like so. Well, you can also put in some traps if you like to. And gonna take the center cube now, bring this here, and duplicate the score field, bring this over here, and now we create another, let's say, variant basically. So whenever we have done that, of course, all of our obstacles over here need to have our move cams, no, not move cam, but obstacle script. Delete obstacles, and I'm gonna get rid of this one. And our spawner now just should spawn that. I created the spawner script already, and basically what we need to take care of is a public game object array or list, up to you. Gonna make use of an array, let's say obstacles. And what we're gonna do is we just over time we just create some of these obstacles, like every now and then we can make use of a coroutine, for example. So re numerator spawn, And what we want to do inside is we create a while loop, just so it is constantly looping through that. While that is true, or while that is running, we constantly instantiate game objects at the spawn point position. Once again, we don't need to take care of the position because the position is taken from the spawner automatically. So we basically just say we wait something, or we just say instantiate. Open close parentheses, what do we want to instantiate is obstacles, and in square brackets we're gonna pick a number between like 0 and whatever the maximum length of the obstacles game object array is. So we can do something like random dot range, open close parentheses, 0 comma obstacles dot length. And so we take a random index from that. You can also put this beforehand into an integer and then pass it inside over here. And that's everything we need basically for this. The rest is done by the obstacles itself. We can, or we should just put a delete function later on to this. And after we are done with that, we yield a return new, wait for seconds. And let's say something like we wait for 2 seconds. Of course, that needs to happen inside the while loop, so I'm gonna put this like after we have done instantiating a obstacle. And that's it. So now we are done with the spawner. Don't forget to save everything, save your scene, and go to your spawner game object and drag the spawner script to this. Here you got the array, and basically we can hit the lock symbol, select all 3 obstacles, and bring this over here. So we have them all, like both variants as well as the main object over there. I don't know if that all works, but it should. And once again, save everything. Once again, it can crash anytime now over here on my side. And that's it. Now my game can basically start. So once again, I don't take care of the actual... Oh, we cannot start the game because we need to start the coroutine. So we say void start with a big S. And of course, we need to start the coroutine over here. Open close parentheses, and we say just spawn. Open close parentheses again, since we are treating that as a function, and we are good to go. Now we press play once again, and we should see something coming up over here with a speed of whatever. And now you can see it is like coming to us. We can barely see where we are, but we can take the reticle into consideration. Now you can see, bam, we can basically create multiple things, like multiple of these things. We should be able to get score whenever our camera is passing one by, and we can now constantly use this VR stuff here, or we can now constantly play the game until we are crashing into a wall. We can also do something like pickups, where pickups are coming next to us, or we're gonna pick up something which is like it's sitting in between the wall. Hi Liquid. This course will be new to me. I don't know. Currently I just shoot that out for free, but probably I'm gonna go more in depth later on whenever we are going maybe do something a bit more precise into game creation, since VR management or VR creation in total has so many possibilities, and of course it takes a while to get all of that stuff together. But as you can see, everything is over there. As you can see, I also didn't cover like all the basics and the parts beforehand. But probably I'm gonna put a VR course on Udemy with way more in-depth details. If you like to, I'm gonna do this. No worries about it. So, and that's basically everything for a super small setting and game over here. Then we just need to have, once again, showing the score somewhere. About showing score in the canvas is a bit, let's say, different to the normal canvases. So we need to have it like way more on the bottom so the player can see this. Yes, so yeah, once again, Liquid, I just can cover basics over here because once again, it's so huge, this complete idea behind VR. I mean, all you have seen already over here is basically showing everything you need. I mean, the deal is you can now go and create ultra fancy 3D objects and models and stuff like that and interact with them. You could put even the camera rig onto something which is driving you personally through a maze of something, or you can create shooters with that. There are just some mechanics you need to take care of. But in the end, everything is already shown over here. So when I would put something like on Udemy, we would create something like a rather complete yeah, game in total. So not just the basics over here. So I would cover everything a bit slower here and there as well, so everybody can follow up. But in the end, the VR, that's basically most of the stuff you need to know about VR. There's just some extras, like when you want to move with a VR cardboard. That's basically not a cool one, so you need to have a controller. And if you go a bit further into VR creation, for example, if you have an Oculus or an Oculus Rift or a Quest or whatever, you always have a controller. And what you can do is you can use the pointers of the controllers, of course, to interact, like with the reticle, which you currently, or we are currently using only for, or with the VR cardboard in this case. You're gonna have these little other game objects which are also able to shoot rays out of their, like, say, frontal thing, like their front. Wherever you point them, the actual ray cast will hit these objects, like we did with the cube in the beginning, like with the reticle pointer, and then you can interact with that as well. The reticle pointer in this case might not be the correct approach for that, because you have probably, or most of the time, you have like two different controllers, so one reticle point in the center doesn't really make sense overall. So, do you have any questions, guys? If not, I probably take a look into score, but that is just stuff once again we don't really need to cover over here, because that's with everything about the same. It's like when the camera rig, which currently is not selectable because I had the lock symbol on, with the camera rig over here, we just have the box collider, and basically we can set this not to be a trigger. That's the downside. But what we can do is we can let the score, for example, get an idea behind it. So whenever our score field is actually checking that the camera rig is passing by, or anything basically is passing by, that we are going to get the score. And that's super simple as well. I mean, we can probably put this over here, like into the obstacle itself, but the obstacle itself will have different mechanics as well. So we're gonna need to decide between a, let's say, a crash, so we lose a life, and we're gonna start all over. We're gonna get rid of all the obstacles, or we just pass by the score field. We can try that like every time we want to. Since they are driven, like these actual obstacles are driven by yeah, something, they don't really care about the rigid bodies or even the box colliders directly on that. So we need to basically go and open one of these, and we need to do something like, if we hit one of these boxes, we're gonna call a crash. And what we also can do is when we are hitting the score, which is like a trigger field here as well, we're gonna call a yeah, score. Thanks, man. Thanks a lot, Liquid, for the nice words. I'm happy you enjoyed this. So yeah, we're gonna be able to, for example, do something like an on trigger event, or an on collision event. Basically, both are working the same. So, for example, we need to have like two scripts which are triggering stuff completely different from each other. So, for example, we create something like a C# script called crash. So, whenever we are crashing into one of these walls, and we're gonna create another one over here for being a score, for example. So, just a score one. And whenever the compiler is done one, I open this again. Once again, I hope nothing is going to crash here for my computer once again. I hope so. And once it's open, my firewall comes up 2 times at least. and I should be able to type in stuff about the score. And once again, triggering events is like always the same. So we do something like void on trigger enter. If you're using 2D content, which for VR doesn't really make sense, except probably for some 2.5D elements, then you're gonna need to have the on trigger enter 2D mode over here. So then we're gonna request a collider, though that is actually necessary, even if we don't really check if that collider is whatever the camera collider or whichever. It doesn't make any difference. And what we can do is something like we can store the actual score anywhere. And over here we can just do something like, okay, we add a score to something which is like permanently online, and then we just print it. So for example, print open close parentheses, yay, you got a point, something like that, or 2 or 10 or 100 or 1000. And so basically the same is going to occur on crash. So whenever we crash, we're gonna get rid of start and update. We're gonna create the same stuff over here. We're gonna make use of the on trigger enter function, and you say something, oh no, you crashed. So basically that's everything we need. Of course, you need to put in something like where all the obstacles are going to get destroyed after like any possible one. So you probably want to do something in the spawner, like where you store all the actually existing obstacles over here. Once again, you want to make sure that when they are behind, like when the obstacles are going to be smaller on the Z value from the player, then you might want to destroy them. So something like, maybe not an update, maybe you're gonna do this like every now and then in a coroutine. An update is basically always bad, except for inputs. So, or you can also do this in late update. So you do something like, if transform.position.that is smaller or equal, no, just smaller than our camera dot main dot transform dot position dot z plus 2 or minus 2. Let's see. We are starting in the positive direction, I guess. So we're gonna negate that by 2. If that is the case, then we want to destroy ourselves. So we say destroy game object. Something like this. So that's where you can basically get rid of the obstacles which are going to be like behind the camera. We can always take a look around and see if that works. We can also check the game scene meanwhile we are doing so. And the final one is going to be, basically we need to make sure that all of the colliders over here are going to be trigger colliders. So we just make them trigger. Since we are just requesting triggers, and we're gonna make the actual score one needs to get our score script, and the actual obstacles over here are going to get the crash script. So, and we're gonna need to do this of course into the other ones here as well. So we're gonna take cube and cube and put in crash, and then we're gonna take score and put in score, and we're gonna need to do this over here as well. So all the cubes are going to get, it seems it's not updated over here, but it doesn't matter. We're gonna put the crash script onto these, and we're gonna take the score fields and get score like this. And in the console, we should be able to see this like while we are in runtime. I go out of that, and we'll press play and see what's going on. So we are coming over here. We check the console for any type of how shall I say? Yeah, triggering anything. So as you can see, we just crashed into something. It got fired 3 times. I don't know why, but well, for the moment we just crashed into that by, I believe, because of these box colliders which are standing over here onto the sides. We want to avoid that. These are basically trashable or crashable, so we only want to fire this one once. We can do this like by just tagging our camera rig. So, and let's go through a score over here. I'm gonna go into a score area, and you can see now, yay, I got a point because I was flying through a score field. And now we can also see if the actual, let me pause here, If the actual game objects are like behind the camera, like 2 units behind the camera, 1 unit, by the way, is like one of these grids over here. So if it is like over here somewhere, then the obstacles are going to destroy themselves automatically. As you can see, that's what they do. They reach this area, 2 areas, or like a distance of 2 behind the camera over there. We can also take a look around over here. I hold down Alt, and then you can see, okay, they destroy themselves after some seconds. So now we can basically play a VR game with our head. The last thing you just need to do is you need to go and build the game. So you go to the build settings. Of course, you probably want to put some menus, or maybe you want to see or check this score over here. You want to do something whenever you're really crashing. Once again, like deleting all the obstacles, also make the game harder over time, and so on and so forth. But once again, this is something you need to take care of on your own so far. So now you're able to create virtual reality games with the Google Cardboard, like just some basic stuff. Do you have any questions? Then feel free to ask them right now, since otherwise I'm going to end the stream over here. It's already the third part of it. Yeah, and of course, don't forget to hit the bell icon and subscribe to the channel and all that stuff, so you're gonna see whenever there's new content coming over here. And don't forget to check out the description. There is the GitHub link once again to the Google VR releases, which you can download. I showed that in the first video. Also, there are some of my courses listed already, so if you want to go deeper in game design or game creation, there are a couple of them. Currently, my newest one is Battleships 3D, so if you want to bring your knowledge level into the next one, then feel free to check out what's going on over there. So, any questions from you guys? You get 1 minute from now on to ask me anything you like, if possible related to VR content. Meanwhile, I'm gonna take a look into something which I can do over here, like maybe I can put something like a score holder here. So, if you don't have any questions, well then I can actually go forward with anything else, or actually end the stream over here. So please let me know if you have any more questions right now. So basically, if you want to later on go and put some or publish some score anywhere, you can always talk to MoveCam or whatever permanent object is going to be, just so you know, and you add a score to it whenever you are basically triggering that. To do that, most of the time, the best option over here is to create a public static accessor like a singleton, which is not of type GameObject, but of the MoveCam script over there. And just call this one instance or whatever you like. And of course, you need to make sure that in void awake, you're going to set the singleton up. So you're gonna say something like instance is equal to this. The cool thing with singletons is we can now directly access public accessors or public variables as well as public functions. So we can do something like movecam.instance dot score plus plus. So we can directly add score to it, and we are good to go. And now we should be able to see score anywhere, like onto our MoveCam stuff over here. Like when I go to the cam rig, we should have a score field over here. And once again, we can read the score later and put this into a text element or text field. So we can just, once again, move along over here, like doing like a flight through obstacles. Yeah, you got a point. Oh no, you crashed. Okay, so you want to avoid, of course, that nothing else is going to happen over here. I got 11 points already. 12 points. Awesome. Oh no, I crashed again. So once again, oh, I got 3 times points. That's strange, because it seems to become triggered multiple times. We just want to make sure that this only triggers once again. So as you can see over here, I get score whenever I pass by or whenever these triggers are getting called. You want to restrict this to the player only, while just for or whenever you just want to do something like you got the cam rig is going to be like tagged to your player, and you're gonna check if the collider tag is going to be the player tag. So if col dot whatever it is called, compare tag or something like that, is going to be a player, then we're gonna print that message. And of course this is the only way whenever we wanna do that. And you wanna do this, don't forget to say, for the crash part here as well. So we are only printing crash, or actually doing whatever is necessary to crash whenever this is going to happen. Okay, so since nobody does have any more questions over here, I'm gonna end the stream in a second or two. So thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this rather strange session. And as you can see now, it's not like triggering hundreds of times, it just triggers once, because we are just checking for the player content or for the player task. Over here, once again, whenever you crash, you will wanna just destroy all the obstacles over here and get more points. And of course, create multiple possibilities for that. By the way, if you want to do something like up and downwards, like with the head tracking, you just, like when you look downwards, that we go downwards and look upwards like that, you can always check the camera and see where the rotation really happens. As you can see, the actual rotation really happens over the x-axis. So whenever we are doing something like up and down movement, so you can basically look up and down and fly, in this case up and down, and do something like left and right movement to like do this tilt movement basically over here, then you're absolutely able to do so. So just take a look into this. I mean, it's not too hard overall. Maybe you're gonna bring some more colors into the game and so on and so forth, so in the end you have something which is probably playable and how do you say, nice for people to play, actually, for having a nice VR, let's say, experience. Once again, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Feel free to sum the 3D up, leave a like, comment, whatever. And once again, check out all the the description below, where all the necessary information about the VR SDK is going to be, as well as my courses currently online and on Udemy. So once again, take a look. Take care and have a good one. Bye bye.